I don't care how long you've known about Flare or whether you're heavily involved or not at all and you're just curious about it. This is going to be everything you need to know about Flare Network and Flare and F assets and all this kind of stuff, all condensed into one single YouTube video. I'm not going to get too complicated here. There is no point. It's my belief that you actually only need 20% of the knowledge of any given thing to get 80% of the result. So I just want to give you that 20%. But before we get started, I want you to know that I opened up a small amount of slots for my BlockFlow program. We think about strategic ways to think about exit strategy and wealth creation and wealth management moving forward, making you your own family office rather than you having to outsource this stuff later on for a load of money. So if you're interested in working with me and the BlockFlow program and grabbing one of those remaining slots, all you have to do is click the link in the description, answer a few questions, and we'll see if it's a fit. So for this video, I'm going to talk off the top of my head. There's no script on any of the screens here. I want to explain it in the way that I would explain it to my mum and dad or my grandma, right? Because this can get really complicated really quickly. And I know there's going to be a load of people in the audience that know that, they're going to say, why didn't you talk about the oracles and the FTSO? I'm like, it's not necessary. It's just not necessary for the 20% of knowledge that is necessary to know about Flare. Essentially, there's a few definitions that we're going to talk about beforehand that I want to get into. The first definition is smart contracts. So you might have heard of smart contracts before, but essentially smart contracts are a blend of automations. So you'll see automations that happen online all the time, basically. This is called IFTTT. IFTTT represents a phrase called if this, then that, and meaning if this happens, then that happens. But typically in normal automations, there's no kind of legal binding of those things. So if I said, for example, the Knicks are going to win in the game this weekend, and I made a smart contract about it with a friend, the contract would list me and my friend within that smart contract. This is the agreement we've made. And when that result comes in and the Knicks do in fact win, then the money would automatically go to my wallet, right? It would just, if the Knicks win, then the money goes to my wallet. So we're specifically talking about contracts that can be automated to make it even more real for you. We're talking about wills. So if I die, then these assets go to these wallets, right? Any agreement, any contract you could possibly have, if this person purchases this property, then the payment will, the monthly mortgage payment will go from this wallet to this place. Inheritance, everything you can think of that has a contract. Smart contracts do it in an automated fashion, but not only that, smart contracts do it on the blockchain. Now, if you're watching this video already, you already know that blockchain is the next thing. It's the next level to all of this. We know the future is going towards blockchain, and we know that contracts are a fundamental part of the way the world operates. Something is going to come together in between and marry those two up. Now, we are aware that there are blockchains and networks like the Ethereum network and other networks, tons of them, that have smart contract capabilities. That means you can build these contracts, these IFTTT agreements on the blockchain, on these different blockchains. However, not all blockchains are made with that capability. The asset that I talk about the most on this channel is called XRP. XRP operates in the world of payments. Now, this is fascinating because I've really just occurred to me now. The problem that XRP solves is payments around the world from cross-border. Cross-border payments are terribly inefficient. They cost a load of money, and it's just the worst. The situation we have in the traditional financial system is cross-border payments suck. It is mind-blowing to me that the XRP ledger, the blockchain that XRP lives on, doesn't have smart contract capability, because it would make complete sense for financial institutions to be able to run contractual agreements with payments, regarding payments, just kind of naturally on their system. But they can't. And whenever there is an issue like that, where something doesn't work or something doesn't apply, there is a business opportunity there for someone to come in and fill it. Just like XRP is filling a business opportunity of payment inefficiencies. Payments are run really terribly around the world. Ripple comes in with XRP as a solution to that problem. Just as Ripple have done that in the payment space, Flare, or the Flare network, has come in to solve the problem that some blockchains just don't have smart contract capabilities. And so what you end up with is a network, a new blockchain called Flare, the Flare network, that basically acts as a middle connector in many ways from blockchains that don't have smart contract capability to the Ethereum virtual machine. Now, the Ethereum virtual machine is another one of those definitions that we need to get into. Most people just call it EVM. And this is basically, if you can connect to the Ethereum virtual machine, you can access the Ethereum network and use some of the capabilities on the Ethereum virtual machine, like smart contracts. So if you can use the Flare network to connect the XRP ledger, the blockchain for XRP, and an Ethereum network, using the Flare network as a little bridge connector thing, all of a sudden, you can now use XRP within smart contracts, within these contractual agreements that allow things to happen in an automated fashion. What this opens up is a whole world of opportunity. I talked about contracts that we would have like me and you, which would be like a will or a mortgage agreement. I'm saying that because it's more relevant to you. But if you're in the world of DeFi, for example, this opens up all the volume from DeFi within using XRP. So whereas XRP struggles to interconnect with DeFi and in other blockchains, Flare would connect XRP to be able to participate in the broader DeFi world, which means loads of money can flow in. That means meme coins, smart contracts, any agreement around the world could effectively be done with XRP. Now, you might be thinking, if you're a little bit more technical minded, we're in that kind of 16, 17, 18, 19% understanding right now. If you're thinking, okay, there's XRP, but XRP can't be on the Ethereum network, right? You can't have an asset that's on one blockchain be on another blockchain. And that is also another problem that Flare have solved. So this is how they did it. Flare solved that problem by creating their own, they call it synthetic assets, called F assets. Now, essentially, there's a whole process that we call it synthetic, but essentially is a process called wrapping, where you've got an XRP, one XRP token on the XRP ledger that's hosted, that's natively on the XRP ledger, where in its home, it's where it's supposed to be. Now, what you can do is you can redeem one F XRP on the Flare network, then it matches the same value. That how they do that value matching is from that Oracle thing I was talking to you about earlier, that I think exceeds the 20% level, so we're not going to go there. Essentially, this XRP, when you transfer it and make it an FXRP, the FXRP can now be used in smart contracts via the Ethereum virtual machine, meaning it can participate in the broader DeFi world. It can be used in mortgage payments. It can be used in loan agreements, gambling and betting agreements, anything. It could be used in anything that has a contract, which is basically how the world goes round, right? It's how we hold everyone to account. Now, let me just slow down a bit here. I have always been curious, and I was always curious, when you claim an FXRP and you replace you're essentially replacing your XRP with an FXRP. So I thought, what is happening with base XRP, the one that you used originally? I thought, is it completely burned? Because these have implications on the price of XRP over time. If you're burning lots of XRP, you're ultimately getting less XRP, meaning the price would go up if demand goes up and supply goes down. So that was quite an interesting thing for me. I came to realize, and you might be learning this too for the first time, is that when you transfer an XRP into an FXRP, all you're doing is storing away that XRP into what we like to call an escrow account. It's just held away in reserve until the FXRP is then redeemed back into XRP. Therefore, it's unlocked out of the escrow and it can be used again. Now, if you never redeem back the XRP is effectively out of circulation and therefore will never participate in any of the payments for XRP or any of the ecosystem moving forward. So it's an interesting thing to think about. If we understand supply and demand, and tons and tons of people buy FXRP to participate in contracts, but never intend and never actually do transfer that FXRP back into XRP, you've effectively taken XRP out of circulation, which is fantastic for the price to go up, but you're also allowing for utility of XRP in these contracts and in the payment world. You can use XRP's value, but also lock it away. This is a win-win situation. This is why it's quite exciting, this whole Flare thing. Consider, if you're going to use Flare or you want to participate in that, or if you're watching this and you don't care about any of that, I want you to know how it would work. If you had $1 million in XRP and then you bought $1 million, you basically transferred that to become 1 million FXRP, and you can now use all of that XRP in the smart contracts, but take 1 million XRP out of circulation. Do that a few hundred times, a few thousand times globally. We've got a very big price for XRP. You are effectively taking those XRPs out of circulation. They're not necessarily out of circulation because they're not burnt, but they are not being used for XRP, so therefore they cannot be accessed until you redeem them back. The price will move appropriately. Supply will go down, demand will go up. That's good news. And so this is why we're so excited as part of the XRP world to have FXRP and have this capability of smart contracts unlocked for the XRP ecosystem. I don't see any reason why this doesn't positively impact the price of XRP. And to me, that's tremendously exciting. Let me think. Have I missed anything about this explanation? And if you are interested in a far deeper dive into the Ethereum virtual machine, I actually created an entire essay. But the essay is within my program. One of the many cool things that are in the BlockFlow program. If you're interested in working with me personally, or maybe even at your own pace, click the link in the description. Answer 5 simple questions about yourself. If we're going to align, we'll actually jump on a call with you. I'll talk with you on the Zoom call. See if it's a good fit. See if what I have to offer actually would work for you. If it doesn't, we go separate ways, and you can continue to get value from these videos. And if it does align, then we're going to build that relationship over the next year or so and really help you turn this bull run into a lifetime of wealth and freedom. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Any suggestions for another part of this series, everything you need to know about blank, put that in the comments and let me know what that thing is, and I will do my best to explain it all to you. Stay emotionless. I'll see you in the next one.